The end of my 3-year relationship with Alex seemed so good to me. We stood in a rainy parking lot behind a diner, soaked and exhausted from the months of slow decay between us. When I finally told him it was over between us, something in him snapped. His expression shifted from warmth to something cold, controlled, and disturbingly precise. His final words were delivered in a voice that's so mean. "You don't understand regret, Maya, but you will. Every day, for the rest of your life." I walked away believing I had escaped a dangerous person. I had no idea his promise wasn't bluff but serious. 2 weeks later, I was trying to settle into my new apartment. It wasn't perfect, creaky floors, thin walls, but it was quiet, and for the first time in years, I owe it. Around 1 a.m., while folding laundry, the lights flickered. It lasted only a second, but when they came back on, I found myself standing directly in front of the living room window. Outside, motionless on the sidewalk, was a tall figure dressed head to toe in black. He wore a velvet mask that tightly covered his face. No eyes, no mouth, no shape of a human underneath. Just a blank void looking up at me. I stumbled back so fast I almost fell. My first instinct was to call the police, and I did. By the time officers arrived, the figure had vanished. They wrote it off as a prank or someone passing through the neighborhood. But deep down, I already know who it was meant for. The next night, he returned. Same time, same position, just standing there. I shut the curtains and tried to convince myself he wasn't watching me anymore. But on the third night, he moved closer. He wasn't on the open sidewalk anymore. He was between two parked cars, half hidden, angled perfectly toward my building. The change was small, but intentional. The velvet mask never knocked, never called, never tried to get inside. His silence was the message. On the fourth night, I understood exactly how he planned to break me. I woke around 4 a.m. thirsty and walked into the kitchen. Everything on the counter was clean except one object wrapped neatly in printer paper. My stomach dropped. I knew I hadn't left it there. I unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a dead housefly, and above it, written in Alex's exact handwriting, Day 4. The apartment was locked, windows sealed. I lived on the second floor. He had been inside, and not to harm me, but to show me that he could. I tore through the apartment, room by room. Nothing was missing. Nothing was vandalized. He hadn't even disturbed the dust on my bookshelves. He just left the note and the fly like a signature. And I remembered one of his favorite lines during arguments. "You'll never leave me without losing everything first." 2 days later, another note appeared. This one pinned to my shower curtain with a thumbtack. Day 6. A wilted sunflower petal slipped out of the paper. Sunflowers had always been my favorite. Then they escalated. Each day, he sent object that was personal. He was telling me he could peel back my life one layer at a time. He didn't want to kill me. He wanted to infect every memory, every habit, and every piece of comfort I had. He wanted regret to sit in my stomach like poison. But nothing compared to day 15. I came home from work and froze at the doorway. A knife had been driven straight through a note into the center of my front door. On top of the paper sat my old wedding ring, the one I gave back to him that night in the rain. But the worst part wasn't the ring. Carved into the wooden frame of the door, deep and jagged, was one word: regret. That was the moment I understood that his promise wasn't about grief or heartbreak. He intended to make every space I occupied feel violated, every night unsafe, every memory poisoned. He wanted me to wake up every morning and feel his presence before I felt my own thoughts. I slammed the door shut and backed away, breathing hard. The knife was still trembling in the wood from the force of the stab. Outside, I didn't hear footsteps. No rustling, no breathing, but I felt him, right on the other side, silent, satisfied, patient. The velvet mask wasn't finished. He could take his time. He could stretch regret into months, years, forever. And somewhere beneath that blank mask, Alex was smiling.